This video is about specialization and the division of labor. In this video, I will talk about specialization in terms of production and as well as individuals. And one of the subtopics of the specialization I will speak of is involving the division of labor. By definition, I'm defining specialization as the concentration on production or task that has the least opportunity cost, and you'll see this throughout the video. To help illustrate this concept, I create a fictional situation where we have two students, Jason and Linda. Jason and Linda are 14-year-old students taking math and economics lessons together. They are both excellent students, but take different amounts of time to make math and economics notes. I will assume that the quality of notes for both are equal. In terms of opportunity costs, Jason can complete 3 pages of math notes in 1 hour, or during that same hour, Jason can complete 6 pages of economics notes. In comparison, Linda can complete 2 pages of math notes in 1 hour, or Linda can produce 8 pages of economics notes in that same hour. Graphically, we can represent the choices that Jason and Linda must make in terms of opportunity costs by this graph. As you can see here, on the y-axis we have 3 math pages per hour, and on the x-axis we have 6 economics pages per hour concerning Jason. For Linda, we have 2 math pages per hour on one y-axis, or we have 8 economics pages per hour on the x-axis. A linear line represents all the choices that they could make in between. So for Jason, he can produce 2 math pages per hour, and that will leave him enough time to make 2 economics pages per hour. So that is here and here. And similarly for Linda. So these are all the choices that are possible. Efficient choices are along the line. Inefficient choices are within the graph, and not possible choices are outside of this PPC curve. One thing that I want you to note is that the line is linear because the opportunity cost is not increasing from economics notes to math notes. And that's because of the factors of production. The factors of production to make pens, to make economic notes or math notes are pens, paper, and labor. So that's why this is linear and not an increasing opportunity cost. Okay, so I'm doing the mathematics a different way to calculate the ratio and the opportunity cost that Jason and Linda experience choosing between amount of math pages and amount of economics pages per hour. Jason, again, can make 3 pages per hour, or he can make 6 economic pages per hour. And Linda can make 2 math pages at the opportunity cost of 8 economics pages per hour. So I want to know what is 1 math page per hour for Jason, and how much does it cost for 1 math page per hour for Linda in terms of economic pages. To do this, I divide 3 divided by 3 to get 1 math page per hour, and I divide 6 divided by 3 because I must divide by 3 here and divide 3 here mathematically. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. That gives me the 1 math page per hour that I'm interested in. And you divide 6 divided by 3, that gives me 2 economics math pages per hour. And for Linda, I do the same thing. I need 1 math page per hour. So I divide this 2 divided by 2. That gives me 1 math page per hour. And I divide this 8 divided by 2. And that leaves me with 4 economic pages per hour. After simplification, I find that for Jason, 1 math page per hour has an opportunity cost of 2 economics pages per hour. For Linda, 1 math page per hour has an opportunity cost of 4 economic pages per hour. Clearly, Jason makes math pages per hour cheaper than Linda can. Jason should specialize in making math notes. Again, specialization is the concentration on production or task that has the least opportunity cost. Jason can produce one math page of notes at the opportunity cost of 2 pages of economic notes, while Linda can produce one math page of notes at the opportunity cost of 4 pages of economics notes. Clearly, Jason can produce math notes cheaper. Jason should specialize in the production and producing math notes. And I want you to think about this. Why should Linda specialize in economics notes? I want you to think about this on your own, based on the same type of analysis. Now, this page is a very important page. Why do I care? If I'm Jason or Linda, why do I care who makes math pages at the cheapest opportunity cost? Well, in this example, we know that Jason has the opportunity or the choice to choose 0 economics questions and all 3 math pages per hour. Or he can produce just 2 math pages per hour, and according to the linear relationship here, achieve just 2 economics pages per hour. But I want you to notice that at this 2 math pages per hour, he is at most able to make 2 economics pages. Now, specialization is important because with specialization and its term trade, Jason may have the opportunity to produce 2 math pages. In other words, instead of producing all 3 math pages and no economics notes, Jason has the opportunity to produce 3 math pages per hour and give one to Linda in exchange for economic pages per hour. So, by himself, he can achieve more with trade than if he did exclusively produce by himself. Okay, so let's go over this very carefully again. So, Jason can produce 3 math pages. He can then give 1 page of math notes to Linda. That leaves him 3 minus 1. He has 2 math pages now, and he given 1 math page to Linda in exchange for economics pages. So he has 2 pages of math notes. Because Linda produces economics notes at the ratio of 1 for every 1 math page, she can produce 4 economics pages per hour. Jason can receive 4 pages of notes in exchange for the 3 minus 1 math note that he traded with Linda. So, in general, without trade, Jason is able to get without trade, for every 2 math notes, pages of math notes, Jason can have 2 economics pages. Or after the trade, he can have two math notes and 4 economics notes. So he starts out, again, let's do this one more time. Jason specializes in math notes. He decides to produce only math notes and to produce 3 math pages. So we begin with specialization. Jason begins at this allocation here. To try to maximize what is possible by trade, Jason knows that if he trades, he can get higher outcomes outside of the PPC curve with trade than if he did everything himself. So Jason starts at this allocation here, and decides to trade away 1 page of math notes. So 3 minus 1 is here. He has 2 math pages in his hand, but the 1 page here goes to Linda for trade. Because of the trade, Linda has a relationship of 1 math pages per hour and 4 economics pages per hour. Because he is sending her 1 math page, she in turn sends back to Jason. Jason receives 4 pages of economics notes and change. Without trade, you can see it here. If Jason did not trade, he could start out deciding to allocate where he produces 2 math pages. Then that would leave him enough time to make 2 economics pages within the hour. But with trade and after the trade, he subtracts 3 minus 1 is 2. He has, for every 2 math pages that he produces, he is now able to receive 4 economics pages. And this is because for every 1 page of math notes Jason trades with Linda, she is willing to offer 4 pages of economics notes. So again, for every 1 page of math notes Jason trades with Linda, she is willing to offer 4 pages of economics notes. Okay, let's do a second example, writing pens and plastic plates. In this example, I compared two companies, the U.S. Plastic Company and the XYZ Plastic Company. And they are producing 35 plastic plates per hour and 70 writing pens per hour. That is the ratio of opportunity cost for the U.S. Plastic. And for the XYZ Plastic Company, they experienced the same ratio of opportunity costs, 35 plastic plates per hour and 70 writing pens per hour. They have the same ratio. Okay, so that means that they can't trade. They could produce at the same opportunity cost for each other. Well, the XYZ Plastic Company decides to change that, and it wants to specialize in one of these units. So it creates a situation. It changes the way the firm creates product in order to make more product. The task of making more product and more production within a firm is possible if the firm at the XYZ factory employs the division of labor. The division of labor is where workers are specializing in a particular task. Okay, let's go to the XYZ factory and watch how one company uses the division of labor to increase productivity. Okay, what you see here is XYZ company and one individual within the XYZ company creating pens, writing pens, all by herself. Okay, notice that the process is slower than normal. And she was gathering all different types of resources to make the pen all by herself. Ink into the end, the front of the pen. And finally, when she stops, she has only created 1 pen. You'll see back at the PPC curve, and this is her manager here, that is not very, in terms of producing one, very productive. Just one worker producing the entire process. And you see here that the manager is not very, you look at his face here, he's not exactly hopeful at that process. All right, now they decided to employ the division of labor. One worker here screws on the beginning of the pen. The next worker puts in the ink. The next worker screws on the end of the pen. And the last worker puts the cap on top of the pen. Now the pen is complete. The process is more efficient and more productive. And you can see here that he is jumping on top of the table, the manager, and they are productive. This woman is another manager timing the process. So remember, in the beginning, this woman was able to produce only one pen just by herself. Now they have the division of labor, and the one pen is created by one, two, three, four different people who, get this, specialize at producing. So this woman specializes at producing, at placing uh, the screw at the end of the pen together. Specialization, specialization. She specializes in screwing on the front. She specializes in putting the ink on the inside of the pen. She specializes on putting this part at one of the parts of the pen. And she, this woman here, is specializing in putting the cap on the pen. As you can see from this demonstration, they are no longer making just one pen. They are making several pens, and you can see the pens stacking up here. Okay, and they continue to make pens and they're almost finished. So this is a demonstration of division of labor, where we move from just one person making a pen to several people making a pen to improve production. Let's go back to our PPC curve. Okay, so this was the initial PPC curve that I showed you, and the XYZ company, where there's one where basically workers put together the entire pen by themselves. It's one of the reasons why they are not productive and only producing 70 writing pens per hour. Now, after they get the division of labor, they are able to make more pens per hour than if one individual made them by themselves. To illustrate this, you can see that the PPC curve has shifted to the right, and the number of pens of production per hour, as you saw in the video, increases. So instead of having 70 writing pens per hour, we now have 105 writing pens per hour. This is division of labor. Also, the other thing that I wanted you to notice from the video is that the women were specializing in different parts of the production process. So they were doing the process, the activity within creating pens. They had the least opportunity cost of producing pens relative to uh, another process within the pen making pens. So using the division of labor, uh, the XYZ plastic company is now able to make more writing pens than if they decided to just use one to do the entire process. And you can see from the arrows here, it just further demonstrates the increase. So after the division of labor, XYZ plastic company can produce more writing pens per hour. The XYZ company that then specialize in making writing. Okay, in conclusion, I use a past paper from the from the IGCSE exams to write this conclusion. In conclusion, if I were to have to explain for 4 points, explain what is meant by specialization and division of labor. The first thing that I would do for this 4 point answer is to describe the definition of specialization. Specialization is the concentration task that has the least opportunity cost. You saw with Jason and Linda that they produce math notes and economic notes at different opportunity costs. Jason specializes in math notes because he can produce math notes at the least opportunity cost. In the video that we watched of the women working, uh, each woman specialized on the task that has the least opportunity cost. In other words, they divided the pen up into several parts, and they allowed one woman to put on the bottom part, another woman to put on the ink, another put the ends in the front of the cap, finish the pen based on they are able to produce that specific part of the least opportunity cost. So these are examples of specialization. Division of labor is each individual take and produce a part of an entire task. And you saw that in the video. So this video was about the specialization and division of labor. And this is, by the way, an example of how to answer a 4-point question on the IGCSE exam. Until next time.